Jason is a compulsive gambler. He gambles from the moment he wakes up until he goes to sleep. There were days when he'd spend the whole day in bed, placing bets and ignoring his responsibilities. Jason has a girlfriend, but when he was gambling, her calls would always end up going to voicemail. He's even been guilty of forgetting about dates and not showing up because he was watching a game he had bet on. Even when he did remember the date night, he would always be preoccupied with staying in action and finding out the status of the bets that he had placed before he came to the date. As you might imagine, this doesn't make his girlfriend too happy. Leo. Like Jason, Leo went through the same pattern of gambling all day long for many years. Leo had also spent entire days placing bets, but he recognizes that those days were a waste of time now in retrospect. Leo also has a girlfriend. However, he acknowledges that in the past, he was guilty of being preoccupied during their dates and has now made it a point to try to be more present in the moment with her. Leo recognizes that he's made some mistakes in his past, but is ready to make amends. He's ready to leave gambling behind and create a happier relationship that isn't impacted by the chaos of the bet. My name is Rob, and I'm a recovering compulsive gambler. I made my last bet on November the 12th of 2022, and since then, I've made it my personal mission to help you to recover from a gambling addiction faster than I did. If you want to leave the chaos of gambling behind and live a happier and healthier life, smash that subscribe button and stay up to date on the content that I create here. Today, we're going to talk about a crucial question. Has gambling ever made your home life unhappy? This question often serves as a critical indicator of the impact that gambling can have on your life. Whether you're here because you're struggling with a gambling addiction or you're supporting someone who is, it's important to recognize that a gambling addiction can cause more than just financial damage. It can ruin lives and families. When someone is addicted to gambling, we oftentimes get tunnel vision because we are only concerned about placing our next bet. This can often lead us to be distracted or preoccupied with our gambling, which oftentimes can make us inconsiderate or uncaring, especially in a relationship. When one person in a relationship is putting in the effort and the other person is more concerned about the score of the Sixers game than remembering that it's your 6-month anniversary, you can be sure that frustrations will arise. While Jason will anxiously glance at his phone to see the scores of the game that he had placed a month's worth of rent on while his girlfriend's talking to him about her problems, Leo will turn his phone off, even though he hasn't even placed a bet, and be sure to listen with intent about what his girlfriend is going through. Because he knows that for too long, he was doing exactly what Jason is doing right now. The reason that a gambling addict has such an intense compulsion to place wagers is because our brains become hardwired to crave the rush of dopamine that we get from staying in action. As you gamble, your brain sends signals to your entire body that what you're doing right now is pleasurable and it should be repeated. As your body gets used to that feeling, you have to gamble higher amounts and in higher volume to get the same quality of feeling that you got in the beginning of your gambling, thus leading to a cycle of addiction. This is why when you're telling a gambling addict about your day, they might look like they're not paying attention because their brain is telling them, hey, get back to that feel-good stuff and stop wasting your time doing anything else. While Jason will hear this voice in his head telling him to get back into action and finds his mind wandering while his girlfriend's talking to him, Leo knows that any urge to go and gamble will be brief, although it could be powerful, and that focusing on the present moment will yield much more benefit to his overall well-being than going and placing a bet on a game that he doesn't actually even care about. Now, what will actually change if you quit gambling as a gambling addict? Well, what happens is that you start to experience some peace in your life, and with peace comes a stable bank account, and more importantly, a stable mood. A lot of gambling addicts will experience mood swings and high amounts of stress as a result of their gambling. That, of course, can cause issues in the relationship. But once they leave gambling behind, suddenly their main stressors begin to be relieved and they find themselves with a real chance at having a much better mood. While Jason will lose a bet and get mad at his girlfriend for asking him to pay more attention to her, causing a fight as he deflects his own stress and depression onto her, Leo is calm because he hasn't placed a bet in months and his financial situation has improved remarkably. He knows that anytime he's experiencing negative emotions, he doesn't need to take it out on anyone else because he's now calm and he's stable enough to handle his emotions as they arrive. Through understanding the impact that gambling addiction can have on those around us, Developing an idea of what's going on in our brain to cause those gambling cravings, and understanding the value of leaving gambling in the past, we can truly live more peaceful lives. Remember, recovery is a journey, and it's okay to seek assistance along the way. In fact, I think it's absolutely necessary. If you want to quit gambling but you aren't quite sure where to start in the process, start by checking out the PDF that I've linked down below in the description. It's filled with free resources that will help you to get into recovery for a gambling addiction faster than I did. If you or someone you know is struggling with a gambling addiction, don't hesitate to reach out to professionals and encourage them to find a support group. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and share this with someone that you think will benefit from what we talked about today. I'll be diving into the rest of the 20 questions to determine if you have a gambling addiction in upcoming videos, so keep an eye out for those. We don't have to let our past mistakes continue to happen. Life can improve, as can your relationships, and all of that happens one day at a time.